I'm not going to deny the fact that this might be my second take because I forgot to put the mic next to my mouth. So on that note, you know what time it is? It's time for us to look at the new OBS. It's OBS 28.0.0-beta 1. With this, it brings a bunch of new features and a bunch of bug fixes and a bunch of different tweaks that kind of help. I'm not going to go over all of them because I don't feel like making a 45-minute to an hour-long video about me ranting and looking over notes and looking over stuff. We're pretty much going to go over the things that I kind of found were interesting to me. If I missed something, go ahead, point in the comments about how I missed that this is an important feature, because if I missed it, then it didn't look important to me, and I would like to change that. So please go ahead, let me know. But anyways, OBS 28 is the successor to the OBS 27.2.4, which is the latest stable version of OBS, which is pretty much what everybody's using. So let's get into like kind of some of the things that I found were interesting. Like the first thing and foremost that you're going to notice whenever you whenever you open OBS, you're going to see that it has a completely new default theme. And this one's called Yami. This is introduced because there's a bunch of different UI fixes and UI changes. Pretty much they went to a completely different UI system. And because of that, it no longer is able to support Windows 7, Windows 8, Mac OS 10.13 and 10.14, Ubuntu 18.04, and any other 32-bit operating system. Another big thing was the accessibility changes. You're able to change the colors for pretty much everything in OBS. Whether it be the audio mixer, whether it be the sources, like the default color for the sources. They gave a bunch of options for this. You're able to customize it whatever you want. And you're also able to pick just the standard default and then the colorblind option. And I think this is really good for, you know, people who are colorblind or people who have difficulty like seeing, which I think this is badass and I really love it. Next, OBS WebSocket 5.0. This one's going to be fun because there are so many plugins out there that use OBS WebSocket 4.9.1 and they're not updated to 5.0. So if you are planning on using the beta to stream and you have a bunch of different plugins, stuff like the move transition or any of the caption stuff, I would suggest holding off and not doing that, because that's pretty much going to break majority of your plugins, because those plugins haven't been migrated over to the new WebSocket, and because of that, they're not going to work. Yeah, it's pretty much not going to work at all whatsoever. And it's great because this beta definitely gives the opportunity for these plugin developers to bring the functionality, sniff out any of the bugs, and just make this integrated version of WebSocket like so much better for the different plugins that you're going to use, which I think is sick. I think it's awesome. I love it. I'm glad that they finally not introduced to it, but integrated it in, because almost any like tool plugin uses WebSockets. Like the Stream Deck uses a WebSocket, StreamerBot uses WebSockets. Anything that you use to control OBS uses a WebSocket, and because of that, it's always better to have first-party integration rather than third-party integration, which the plugin for OBS WebSocket would have been a third-party integration as compared to it being built directly into OBS, which is first-party. I think that's how it goes. If not, tell me I'm wrong. All right, so next is the streaming and recording encoders. So the streaming encoders are pretty much the same. So you have the H.264, which is pretty much, it's using your Nvenc encoder, and it's great. But the cool thing that comes with this is in the recording tab, which the recording tab brings an entirely new encoder. They bring the Nvidia Hevc, which is basically it has better compression and it has a better quality, and it basically you're gonna get the same results out of a lower bit rate, or you're going to get better results out of the same bit rate. And when it comes down to it, it's just going to look better. It's going to look better, and it's going to give you the ability to capture, it's going to give you the option to capture higher resolution anything and just make it look crisp and clear and everything like that. Another thing is they changed the implementation of the Amf encoding, which as of this video, AMD went through and kind of decided to overhaul that and updated their the AMD encoding, which is good because they've always kind of lacked behind Nvidia, which is kind of sad because they're powerful, but Nvidia kind of just has always had the upper hand when it came to streaming. And it's kind of nice to be able to see that AMD, like the Radeon division, is able to, you know, they decided, hey, we should probably do this. And I actually kind of found out, I think that's pretty rad. Big one. The application audio capture. So a lot of people use applications like Voicemeeter and the virtual audio cable to be able to capture the applications that they're using. Like they wanted to take in something from Spotify, or like they wanted to separate Spotify, they wanted to separate the desktop audio, and they also wanted to separate the voice. With this, it pretty much, in my opinion, there might be some things that Voicemeeter has that I don't really know because I don't really use Voicemeeter. I don't like it. But the one thing that I think that this is going to be good for is pretty much eliminating Voicemeeter and being able to bring in any sort of application audio to where you can control it separately. And that's a big deal. That's a really big deal, and I'm really excited. They integrated the Nvidia broadcast background removal, which this is really cool because this essentially just, it makes it easier to just like click it on with the source and all that jazz. It's gonna be really cool for the people who want to have like the background, and then they also want to have something like really cool little like backgrounds that involve them getting their body separated from the background. It's not that deep. But the fact that they put it in there is actually really cool because it's going to be able to open up a whole bunch of different things with stuff like StreamerBot and Sammy and everything like that. You do still need the RTX video effects SDK for it, so this does mean that you still need an RTX card to be able to utilize it. Yeah, there's really no way around it because these things are operated using the tensor cores. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Another big one is the native Apple Silicon support. Why was that so hard to say? The native Apple Silicon support. This is going to be really interesting. I do not have a Mac with an M1 or an M2 chip, but I know a bunch of people who do, who might actually be able to see a lot of performance improvements and everything like that. Like, I'm really interested to see how the M1 and the M2 chip encode, because I've seen how well they work with like different like DaVinci or Premiere Pro, and how the hardware acceleration really just kind of, it's not even hardware acceleration, it's just the actual X264. I don't know why I said the hardware acceleration. Probably didn't cut that out. I'm really excited to see how they're able to do encode and decode with the M1 and the M2 chips. HDR and 10-bit color support. This is a big one. You're only going to get these if you are using any of the AV1. So I think it's the SVT AV1 recording, which a lot of that is not really that available yet. I've heard inklings that it works really well with the new, what was it, A380 Intel GPUs, but I don't have one to test, so I don't know because they haven't really launched it in the US. I think they have one supplier, which is from a company called Gunner. But the fact that they put HDR and 10-bit color support is really cool because a lot of people use OBS to film stuff, and with this they can film directly inside OBS rather than filming to a using their HDR 10-bit color cameras and just have like this little view like I'm doing right now. Also, I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. All of this stuff is just me assuming. So if I'm wrong on any of these, please tell me, because I like to learn things. Really cool. This was put in the tweak section of the patch notes. They added an option for low latency audio buffering and to the settings audio portion. And apparently this is designed for the outputs like the deck link and the NDI. It's to avoid your audio and your video going out of sync while using NDI and the deck link, which I am super excited for because there are so many people that use NDI and they use it for their different their 2, 3, 4 PC setups, and this is in my opinion one of the best back-end stuff, the back-end little things that they could have included, and I'm really excited for it. For everybody in the internet that knows how to use code and knows how to code in Python, OBS supports all of Python 3 now instead of just using, I think it was 3.6 was the supported one for any scripts that are going into OBS. This is awesome because it gives you backwards compatibility and forwards compatibility until they change to Python 4. Jeez, that was really hard to say. Other than that, there was like little things like little extras for YouTube, like the chat and everything like that. All of these little things, of all these tweaks, all these new additions, all these whatever, like I'm really excited to see the direction that OBS is going in, because this has been my favorite broadcasting software since I started streaming, since I started recording YouTube videos, since I started doing anything in the realm of broadcasting and video production. And it just opens up so many doors, and I'm really excited to see like how well this entire software like matures over the years, and because it's changed so much since I've started, and I've been at this for like 4 or 5 years, and there have been so many different changes, iterations, additions, and I'm just really excited to see what it is. So I think that's where we're gonna end it. We're gonna cut it off right there. If you like this video and if you want to see more videos like it, let me know. I'm really interested in if you are wanting to see anything specific with OBS, and if you are, please put that in the comments below. And pop this and give it a sub and a like and a notification thing if you're into it, if you're nasty. But anyways, enough of that. Go back to your day. I can't believe you stayed here and watched it this long. I love you. Yeah. And on that note, bye-bye.